If you want to get your bearings in a new reselling niche, I think it's not that tough to orient yourself if you know how to do it. So I thought, as kind of a fun experiment, I would go into eBay, go into the World Wide Web generally, and figure out from scratch a niche that I know nothing about and try to get a sense of what is worth reselling, how I would resell it, what I would pay for it, what I would try to sell it for, and just generally get a sense for a brand new niche. That niche is going to be umbrellas. I have never sold an umbrella. I know nothing about umbrellas. I have a couple of guesses as to what will sell, but I'm going to go into the eBay sold metrics, look at the actives, and do a little bit of sleuthing online to try to figure out what is potentially worth selling. And you can hopefully apply the same process to any niche that you can think of. So here are my prognostications. This is what I think will probably sell. Putting myself in the buyer's shoes, why would someone buy a pre-owned umbrella on eBay as opposed to going down to Walgreens and picking one up new for 10 bucks or 20 bucks? There's a few scenarios I can think of. Again, I've done no prior research. I know nothing about umbrellas. My guesses are vintage umbrellas made of higher quality materials, exotic woods, mother of pearl, maybe if they have jewels in the handles or something, or if maybe there's like collectible vintage umbrellas. Guaranteed there is a subreddit for umbrellas. Probably luxury brands. I would guess that Coach and Burberry probably, and Prada, that these brands do make umbrellas. So probably those are worth money. Also, purpose-oriented umbrellas. I think that outdoor clothing brands make technical umbrellas for hikers and backpackers, and I would guess that those are really expensive, and there's probably a used market for it. And maybe there's like really upmarket travel umbrellas that collapse down really tiny and then expand out pretty big. These are what my instincts tell me are likely to sell. But let's just look really quickly at the solds. So currently in pre-owned condition, there are 4,786 active listings, meaning listings that have not sold. And there are 1,120. So about 1/4 sell-through for the entire genre of pre-owned umbrellas. Now, if we want to find the good stuff, let's filter for the nice pieces. And this looks like, oh, okay, so this is perilous. There are clothing brands called umbrellas. Ah, okay, outdoor patio umbrellas. We're not going to count those. These are personal umbrellas, the kind that you could find at garage sales and thrift stores. Oh, there are actually categories for, damn, men's and women's umbrellas. That's tough. I wish there was just one. Actually, that's an interesting question. What sells better, women's umbrellas or men's umbrellas? So 385 sold women's umbrellas to 1,359. You will notice that this number here is different and much larger than this number here. In my opinion, this number is more trustworthy. I need to test that out at some point to make sure that's true, but I tend to trust this number more than this one. 114 sold used men's umbrellas for fellas, and 345. I think that is a little bit higher. So if you find a masculine umbrella in black or gray or navy blue for a guy, then maybe that's worth a little bit more. Seeing as most people are not probably aware of a gender differential in umbrellas, I'm just going to look at the sold and actives in the clothing category, period. So it's going to be polluted with a bunch of clothing stuff. So here's one, a pusheen umbrella. That's one that I didn't think of, like pop culture stuff. Vera Bradley. Folding black umbrella, XS Metro, Japanese. Davik. Burberry, there we go. I was correct. Vintage Burberry folding umbrella. I think that hits a couple of the things. There's Coach, Giorgio Beverly Hills, Chanel, antique parasol frame. That's interesting. Let's just hop straight to this. This is really cool. Because if you found this at a garage sale or a thrift store, it looks like garbage, but when you come in here, wouldn't you know it, that's probably silver and that's wood. That looks like mother of pearl. I swear to God, I didn't plan this. I feel like my guesses are right on the nose and that I'm a big, smart boy. This sold for $100, 120 including shipping. Davik Elite. What is Davik? High quality umbrellas. So these are boutique umbrellas for fellas. Davik Mini. See, this is what I was thinking, is that like there's this whole culture of like gentlemanry. And there are all these style blogs and YouTube channels that are about the 5 watches that every gentleman must have in their boudoir or whatever. And they spend ungodly amounts of money for like salvaged jeans and like the perfect leather handbag and stuff. So I feel like this is in that category and that there's probably a bunch of brands like that. Where was the Davik one? So let's check the sell-through. Davik umbrella. So 22 total new and used, 17 sold, and these prices are pretty good. Brand new, selling for 80 to 100, looks like. Let's check out pre-owned. And I feel like this is the kind of thing that you would find at a garage sale, or just stuffed on a shelf somewhere at a Goodwill. There you go, Davik Mini umbrella. It's like 55 bucks. Let's try Mini umbrella. $23 sold for just Mini umbrella, 68. Sorry, 98 active, so not necessarily great. Vera Bradley, Coach, Victoria's Secret, Coach, Louis Vuitton. Let's try outdoor. No, that's gonna be too, hiking. Boom. That's what you need. Hiking umbrellas. Joe Shade. Fjallraven, Mammoth. So I'm guessing that like the big outdoor brands that make umbrellas are gonna be good. Fjallraven. So the hiking umbrella thing, I don't know. That might be a miss. That might not be correct. So what are the wins that we know of at this point? Vintage or antique umbrellas made with organic materials. I'll do some more sleuthing there. Looks promising. Luxury brands look promising, and contemporary upmarket gentlemen's brands are probably good. Let's do this. Let's go to the old tube. Best umbrella. Blunt umbrella. So this is interesting. 94 new, 2 used. 13 new, 1 used sold. Sell-through is not great. This is an item that I think has to be severely impacted by seasonality. That didn't even occur to me for some reason. I think probably winter, like the cold, like everything but summer probably is going to be much better for umbrellas. But these sold prices are not terrible. See, this looks like hiking to me. This looks like an outdoor thing. Another good resource here, 9 best umbrellas from Popular Mechanics. These like consumer review articles probably get a ton of traffic. And of course, they're all affiliate links. That's how all of these sites operate. So don't necessarily trust them, but good to know as a reseller because this is where a lot of people's attention goes. Repel umbrella. Repel umbrella. 22 sold, 99 active. Repel, looks like it's not all that pricey. Kind of want to stay out of that price zone, I think. Davik again. So this might be like, you know, not literally, but the Gucci umbrella brand. Life Tech. This looks really cheap. Let's see. $213. No, these are a little pricier than I thought. So those are healthy prices, but it looks like the used market is non-existent. Stromberg brand. $40, 15, nah. G4 free. 4 free. 32. 91. This is a little healthier. 80-inch oversized. So these are like huge umbrellas. Blunt Metro. Life Tech. Totes umbrella. And there's going to be a challenge here, which is there's a trade-off between, it looks like the larger umbrellas are worth more money than these compact umbrellas. The compact umbrellas are going to be much easier and cheaper to ship than those big umbrellas, but it might be one of those cases like golf clubs or fishing rods where it does make sense to pay up a little bit for shipping because you can make better margins on the large umbrellas. That is my guess. I'm starting to think, looking at these contemporary brands, that probably the smartest money is going to be in one or two of the contemporary, like, nice brands, and more like antique, collectible type stuff, and larger umbrellas and the luxury umbrellas. That is what seems to me to be the picture here. Ubur. Yeah, like this contemporary stuff, I don't know. I feel like this is one of those items that just gets so mass manufactured that most of it is going to be worthless. Let's take a look at this guy. One sec. Gentleman's Gazette. Umbrella. Ah, okay. Rain gear for gentlemen. Ooh, that's a good call. Let's umbrella Gore-Tex. So Gore-Tex is technically a Vero phrase, so this might be deceptive. There may be Gore-Tex umbrellas floating around, but people just aren't listing them as such. Gore-Tex is a really expensive waterproof fabric that's used in clothes a lot. This stuff gives me the willies. So this is all about coats. Got to find the section about how the umbrella is a classic gentleman's look and that the right umbrella can accentuate a gentleman's suit. Here we go. Swain Adley Brigg. Swain Adney Brigg. Okay, so some like Savile Row type noise. God, what was it? Chufflewiths and Bronsdorfs, Swains, Adney Briggs, right? Brig. Swain. Umbrella. 10. Look at those prices. So I think this is where I would focus. I have seen enough to know that it's probably, yeah, look at the sell-through too. 10 to 10, so 100% sell-through on these. And look at the prices. So these are not vintage either. This is like hyper bespoke designer Seville Row type stuff. I bet there's a bunch of brands like this. And I wonder, you could probably tell just looking at it, like if you found this at a thrift store. See, it's made of wood. This looks vintage to me. This might not even catch your eye. I mean, it just looks like something that might be sitting in a closet somewhere, but it does have this maker's mark. It has this branded brass ring on it. It's all large. Polyester canopies and the horn tips and the different woods you can go. So wood, horn, obviously ivory is off the table, but probably like, I think there are legal horns that you can still sell, unfortunately. So what would this guy buy? He would buy a nice wooden handled mother of pearl inlay, brass accents umbrella. Ooh, this is interesting. Car branded umbrellas. Bentley, this is what? Corvette? Oh man, I bet that car dorks will, umbrella, will buy stuff like this. Wow, 232 bucks, 55 bucks. Mostly new, 79. Bentley car luxury. Yeah, look at this. So I sorted highest to lowest. So a couple of these like this with a big logo. Looks like there's some good money there. Let's try Ferrari. Here's one with a big logo, 200 bucks. This is a good rule that applies to clothing. It looks like it translates over here too. Anything that is associated with money that has a big fat stupid logo on it that's really conspicuous, that tells the world that you can afford a Ferrari umbrella or a Gucci t-shirt or whatever, tends to have really high sell-through and to be worth more money. I think we can pretty safely apply that standard to umbrellas as well. Okay, so this has just been a quick run through, but I feel more oriented. I feel like maybe I know enough to go out and start hunting and pecking. Here are the biggest wins that we have found. The car umbrellas, especially with big logos associated with like luxury car brands, vintage or really expensive gentlemen's umbrellas like this brand Swain, Adney Brigg, England. How did I know that it was English? And this brand, Davik, New York, I bet there are a couple of other brands like this. And if you sleuthed around for a while, you could find them. These really upscale contemporary brands for like American Psycho types. Hiking umbrellas, I think, I don't know. I'm agnostic about that one. I didn't really see enough. Now, let's start thinking about how to ship, what I would spend on them, how to think about your pricing. I think with something like this, it just doesn't matter. But there's probably a bunch of these mid-range stuff like this, you know, the Burberry, the smaller ones, like stuff that's worth 30, 40, 50 bucks. Let's make it complicated. Let's say that it's a bigger umbrella, like one of the full-size umbrellas, and you can maybe sell it for like around 50 bucks. How much should you pay for it and what can you expect to spend on shipping? For bigger packages, I always used UPS Ground or FedEx Smart Post over USPS. It was always cheaper. I think that's probably what I would do here. Magnus Dingeldorf 69420 Cool Guy Lane. Yep, that's correct, in Houston, Texas. Wingus Dingus at hotmail.net and 3321235. Okay, so this fictitious address is in Texas. Let's say we're going to send it to Jeff Bezos. Jeffrey Bezos. Okay, so I picked Seattle because that's a healthy distance. I feel like that's around like a median distance, Texas to Seattle. I think you could go certainly farther than that, shipping from like California to New York, but this will be a decent estimate. So weight per package, we got to figure out how much umbrellas weigh. Here is a generic umbrella that has a wooden handle. It's the full, looks like the full size. Vintage umbrellas are probably going to weigh more because they're made with higher quality wood and they have the metal inlays and such. This one is 14.4 ounces. So let's say like a pound, say it's going to weigh 2 pounds. Packaging, 2 pounds. Product dimensions, so 35 inches long. Let's say 40 by 6 by 3. So the lowest that we can ship this imaginary large umbrella for is 23 bucks. I didn't do a lot of these large hard goods shipments. I was a clothing reseller and I sold books. So maybe if you're watching, you know a better system than this, but this looks about reasonable to me. 24 bucks, 25 bucks. With that number in mind, we can go to this tool. I think there are others like it. They're free, very useful. Let's figure out what like the sweet spot is for pricing. Like at what point is it not worth the effort to list these umbrellas and what should we buy them for? Let's say we're at Goodwill and they're selling an umbrella for 10 bucks. Shipping charge, let's say 25 bucks, we pay for shipping, it's not free shipping. That's sold price. Item cost 10. Let's say we sell it for 50 bucks. Let's say we have a basic store. Let's say we're top rated. No, domestic. Let's say we promote it at 3%, 0. Okay, so we can see if we sell this large umbrella for 50 bucks and charge the buyer 25 bucks on top of that for shipping, we pocket a total of approximately 29 bucks. I think that that's worth it. I think that when you dip below, when you start getting into this 20 buck range, it becomes questionable what is worth your time, what is not worth your time. And that is going to be tricky because how many umbrellas are you going to find that are going to flip for more than 75? I think it's going to be those vintage umbrellas or the really, really desirable brands. Now, for something like a compact umbrella that you could potentially send out in one of those priority, like a padded flat rate or just the cardboard flat rate envelope, let's say shipping is 8 bucks. Now, I think this opens it up more to, let's say you can sell a compact umbrella for a total of like 33 bucks, maybe from, that nice brand. Then, margins are still a little bit slim. But something like those Burberry umbrellas, like luxury umbrellas, the compact little ones, if you can flip them for around 40, 50 bucks, then you can make some decent profit here. And let's say that this was cheaper, you got it for 5 bucks, or let's say you got it for $1 at a yard sale. Now you're making some better money, Like you're still in a really healthy zone here. Obviously, the big Grand Slam wins are going to be stuff like this, but I think that there is some room to play with the umbrellas. So I've been looking at this for about 45 minutes. I feel like I have some notion of what to avoid, what to focus in on. To be redundant again, I think the vintage stuff is going to be the biggest win. And I think finding compact umbrellas from luxury brands or stuff like whatever this brand is, Davik, I think those are going to be the two areas that are the most promising. And now I would feel encouraged to go out to a thrift store and poke my nose in the umbrellas, which is something that I never did. I think it's probably something that most resellers don't do. I'm not saying that umbrellas are going to be a home run niche. This is just an example. There are so many niches like umbrellas that get less attention in the thrift stores than electronics and video games and books and clothing. Not to say that you can't make money with those niches, obviously, but there's a ton of these that are under-tapped, that people just are not as interested in, are not as conspicuous a source of profit as something like watches or VCRs. And if I were to spend a couple, 2-3 days really digging into the metrics, writing down the Bolo brands, toggling, these price brackets if you go into sold, but like here, you can see a price breakdown. You may be able to find wins in here where the sell-through rate will be higher. And if you can source those mid-range brands for really cheap, maybe you can stand to turn some decent profit. And if you get a handful of these niches under your belt and you know enough about them, you can become a little bit more dangerous at garage sales or whatever. That's annoying terminology. Dangerous, whatever. You're a badass. You know about antique fishing lures. You get the point. Obviously, I'm not claiming that I completely understand the umbrella niche just from 45 minutes of research, but I hope that this gives you some ideas and was useful and instructive of how to kind of map some unfamiliar territory with a niche that you're unfamiliar with. So appreciate you watching.